Okay.
Start the timer and clap.
Nice. Okay. Studio buddies doing a podcast with a little gay guitar.
Woo!
Hello and welcome to Studio Buddies podcast with me, Simon.
And I'm Jamie.
And today, another special episode.
Yeah, today we're going to be reacting to the Gogh Alive exhibition experience. It's something that I went to, and when I went there, there was the option of buying the USB. So they've gone and recorded it while no one's in there, and I decided that going there was going to be like my time to splurge, I suppose, because I was like, it's a once in a lifetime thing that I'm probably going to do. I don't think I'll ever go again. So I decided to get it on USB. Should I give a little bit of a backstory, or do you just want to watch it?
No, yeah, give a backstory. Go for it.
Okay, so when I had realised that they were doing it, it's kind of like an exhibition that was touring the UK. So they had like this big tent in Manchester, and like the tickets, I won't lie to you, the tickets were expensive and they went really fast. And the longer that like the tickets weren't selling, the higher the price they were, and like
Wow.
you know, when it got closer to the day, they got more expensive.
What are we talking, like ballpark around?
I think it was around like £20 per person.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And it went up to like 30. Yeah. So I'd managed to get it for, I think it was like between 20 and 25 for me and my partner to go. And we also had to get the train there and stuff. And like my partner he's not as interested in Van Gogh as I am. But he saw how excited I was getting over it, and he was like, you know, I want to go with you because I know that you're really excited for it, and I don't want you walking around Manchester on your own. And it was like around October, November, and the time that we went, it was around like 5 or 6 p.m, so it would have been dark. So we were able to get the train there, and it was a bit of like it was a bit of a mess because we've never gotten the train to Manchester. So going to like the stations and stuff, trying to figure out which platform we had to go to. And at one point, like the I think it might have been at the Victoria station, the trains kept on changing platforms as well. So it was really bizarre, but we got there and like we had our tickets printed, and I also got like this book about it, which I made a pile of everything that I got there, and I didn't include that in the pile. I probably should have.
We'll try and insert it. If you find it afterwards, do a short video of flicking through it and we'll insert that.
So then, like, once you get your tickets checked, you go to the counter, and I had paid extra for like this book because I was like, I want to make the most out of everything. And then before you actually go into the experience, they had the only way I could describe it was they were kind of like posters on foam board talking about like the different pieces that he'd done in like different locations and why he did it, and then one part of the exhibition, you know, the famous painting of his bedroom. They had replicated this, and you could actually go in, and it was in the style of his painting. I didn't go in because there were so many people. I took so many pictures, I won't lie. I blew up my partner's phone because we needed mine for Google Maps because he couldn't get cell service. So he was like, okay, you can use my phone to take pictures, and there was over 200. I took pictures of everything, like before I realized I could get the USB. So I'll insert, well, you'll insert the image of the bedroom if I can find it, because there's so many. And then so we went into the actual experience, and the only way I can describe it, it's like this massive space with huge just like blank. It kind of looked like you know, when people would pull down those projector screens. Yeah, so they were like big projector screens, and the whole room was dark, and they had projectors everywhere, and there was even like stuff projected onto the floor, and it kind of just told like his story and how he got to where he was. And yeah, it was amazing. And I remember like for the few days before we were going, I was getting so excited that I'd have to like stim just to like get it out, so I'd end up like happy flapping. And we walked into the actual experience, and I remember just sitting there and like almost crying because I was so overwhelmed, but not in a bad way. It was great. I think we ended up staying to watch it twice, because when we first went in, we'd missed like the first half, so we were like, okay, well, we'll just stay and watch the rest, and no one was bothered by that. And then once you leave, there's like a little gift shop, and I'll show you like the stuff that I got from the gift shop after we watch it if you want.
Yeah, I mean, when was this, by the way?
I think it was around like October, November time.
No, but what year, sorry?
I think it was recent. Yeah, it was last year.
21, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I remember I booked the tickets at my partner's mum's house because I was like, it's something that I really want to do. And it was obviously like a few months before Christmas, and I was like, I don't know if I can afford it. But we went anyway, because there was absolutely no way that I could miss out on something like that. It was amazing. Yeah. And I'm so glad I got the USB. This cost me like 15 quid.
Yeah.
I don't regret it. Like,
nice.
I do not. I can watch it whenever I want to.
Yeah.
And I quite enjoy that.
This is the difference, isn't it? Where we can't afford much stuff because we're working class, and yet money like that is well spent because it's just so meaningful to you that it just adds to the experience and takes it back home with you.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't want to have to just rely on my memory and the photos that I took. I wanted to be able to listen to the music again, because I think it's accompanied by 5 musical pieces, something like that anyway, and it was just so nice. The one thing that I'd have to say that I didn't enjoy as much about it was some of the paintings that they used. They'd edited the paintings so that parts of it moved, and that kind of, I don't know, it kind of pulled it away for me. Like, he painted them that way for a reason. Yeah.
I'm guessing, is it the fern tree or the pine tree, whatever it is, where he paints a tree which has got all, it's like it curls. Did they animate that one, I'm guessing?
I think so. There's quite a few where they animated, like, I think it was, is it crows in a field of wheat?
Crows over wheat field or something like that, yeah.
Where the crows move as well. Well, there was quite a few of them.
That's kind of blasphemy because you're not supposed to know which direction the crows are flying, whether it's towards or away from you, which is supposed to be up to interpretation of the viewer. And it's fairly significant because it's meaningful of whether they're flying towards you, which would be kind of scary, or away from you, which would be significant in a different way. So, I mean, just for a bit of trivia, our very first pilot episode before episode 1 was on Vincent van Gogh watching Loving Vincent. And, well, we didn't watch it as a reaction video, but we spoke about it, and I wrote down notes about the film and a few facts so that we can discuss it, because it's Jamie's favourite artist. And to be honest, I don't have a favourite artist, but if I were to have one, it would either be Van Gogh or it would be Monet or something like that, where someone who, when you look at it, the work, you just want to create work yourself because it's just so beautiful and it's kind of just relatable, where it's inspiring, you know. But yeah, so I'm excited because I haven't seen this, and that's the reason why we've got these big headphones on, is because we are watching something to react to as opposed to just having a video call with each other.
Yeah, and like last week we were talking about the technical difficulties that we were having with Zoom, and now today our initial idea was that we were going to have it both on our own separate devices and try to pause at the same time, but that's not going to work. So I thought, like, okay, if I can get Simon on my laptop, I might be able to share my screen, but it took so much, like, effort just to be able to do this.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be really nice for you guys to kind of see it as well, because there is going to be, I hope, I don't know, this is on you, like a little box where you can kind of watch along with us. I'm not sure how you're going to synchronize the pausing of that, though.
Yeah, I'll figure that out. I don't know.
Yeah, sorry. Just made a load of time and effort for you.
Yeah, we'll see how that
Yeah.
goes. Okay, yeah, let's just try anyway.
Yeah, I sure we'll figure it out,
Yeah.
maybe, or not. Yeah. Okay, let's go.
Can we pause for a second?
Yeah.
I'm concerned about how much we're watching without pausing, just in case the music gets picked up. So I might need to dip the music on our recording from time to time.
Yeah.
Just so that we don't get picked up so much, because we've never done anything where we're at risk of copyright infringement. So we're just going to have to see how this goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far it made me wonder. It's really nice. It's really kind of a lot of gravitas to the music. I like that type of orchestral classical stuff to build the mood, and it really suits the significance of the artist, really. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm trying to, like, contain my excitement.
I can see it. It's so sweet.
Okay, so we paused there at 112.
Yeah, I've got it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to know your opinion on the way that they've done that. Like, with it kind of looks like brush marks leading into the portraits.
Yeah, I mean, I get, that's to try and build the excitement of the creative brushstroke.
Yeah.
But it is sort of, I am kind of searching for his marks through their rendering. It's not that bad, but it's at the same time, I do look through that to see his work, because his work's so much better than anything that anyone can replicate, trying to animate his kind of energy. So yeah, what did you think of it?
I can see why they've done it, because it kind of adds to the cinematic experience of this as a whole. And I don't know what it would be like if they hadn't have done it. But I don't know. Like, I can kind of understand, especially with the music that accompanies it, is to kind of build the suspense of it.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if it's necessary.
It's almost like there's several ways of revealing an image using filters, and the brushstroke one, because it's someone who's got so many beautiful brushstrokes, it's kind of it's hard not to see how lacking it is in that type of elegance and expressionism that Van Gogh mastered. When you're
Yeah.
showing that type of work to show a computer's effort, or a modern day computer artist's effort to try and do that, it's always going to fall short. And as I said, I just tried to kind of go, just look through that to see his work, because his work's what you're trying to see. And it was just seeing the vibrancy. I'm also wondering whether they've heightened some of the contrast. And I'm not sure if they did, but it looked like they did on one of the portraits.
It definitely seemed that way. Like, I think that's one of the things I picked up on while I was there,
Yeah.
was that some of them seem to have been edited.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that was 100% necessary, because he was a master.
Yeah.
Biased opinion, but it's the right one. Fight me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Yeah.
created a movement. I think it's fair. If you're going to call anyone a master, I think Van Gogh deserves it. And I think
Yeah.
from what I've heard, he's the most influential artist of modern times. And if that's not true, then he's got to be right up there. But I can imagine that is true, because of,
Yeah.
he's influenced everyone's mark making and brush strokes, and, from pencil drawings as well, and ink drawings, just because of how he would use dashes and lines and marks instead of doing longer kind of calligraphic style
Yeah.
rendering. He wouldn't do that. He'd do sort of impressionist or expressionistic. No, expressionistic ways of drawing as well, which I still think is completely masterful. And I draw all the time and look at all types of people who draw, and yet Van Gogh's drawings are just breathtaking.
Do you think it would have been better if those brush marks were similar to the brush marks he used?
If they could do that, I suppose. It seems as though, I don't know whether just doing brush marks as your filter to reveal it was the right choice. Yeah. I know that it was an obvious choice to make, because it's obviously painting, but it just seems like there could have been different ways of revealing the imagery without using brush marks, because that's it's just going to force you to compare, and there's no comparison. It's like people say, you can't compare apples to oranges, and you can, but I mean, it's not a fair comparison, because you're comparing two different fruits entirely. So to compare digital efforts to try and show brush marks compared to what Van Gogh did, which was obviously, without any of that modern technology, it's just going to fall short. They're never going to be able to do that. And, well, I say never. You don't know what's coming in the future, but it would take someone who's as much of a master as Van Gogh to create something, and it would be almost wasting their talent to do that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
That was 152, by the way.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Sorry, I didn't know that. Which we should have regular pauses like this, just because I am worried that we might have to upload this without the music, or with only small bits, because the music is something which is going to pick up on the algorithm more than the imagery, because we're going to have little boxes on the screen. Anyway, technical talk, folks, but this is our first React video, so who knows what's to come.
Okay, let's go.
I want to applaud.
Yeah. I want to add, I like how they have done the multi-language thing.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. Like, they could have just done it all in English, but I think it adds to it. And I could be wrong, but I think they used the languages that he spoke.
That's interesting. Well,
Yeah.
I was thinking as well that seeing the large scale imagery of his paintings must have been amazing for you to witness, because obviously seeing them in person's another thing, but at the same time seeing these kind of projections that are so large, I mean, it's just different, isn't it? To be able to see it platform that way is really heartwarming.
I think the only thing that would have topped it was to actually see one of his paintings.
Yeah, well, my brother's supposed to be seeing his drawings at some point, which is going to be, you know, I mean, the drawings can't be exhibited. I don't know if you know that, but because they the light affects them, they've got to be kept in storage.
Really?
Yeah, so he's had special permission to go and view them in a gallery in London, which...
Can he just, like, take us with him?
Well, us, I'd have to be there digitally, but yeah, I mean, it would be nice. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when he's planning on doing that. Sometime this year, I imagine.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got goosebumps. My God. We're at 4:10, by the way. I have read his book, which are the letters that he sent to family, friends, mainly Theo. But the fact that persistently throughout the book he states that he can't draw and that he can't paint, I think someone needed to grab him by the shoulders and just be like, stop it. Stop it. Because even, you know, his early work, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's, I mean, you know, I've told you that someone from university said to me that they thought he didn't know perspective. And I was, you know, vehemently opposed to that opinion and saying, I will send you pictures of his paintings and his drawings, which prove that he knows perspective. And he just had such a way with rendering that's unique. His colours are just, I mean, as soon as this video started, I was thinking, God, the colour palette alone makes me want to paint. And it just shows how.
Even his earlier work where his colour palette isn't bright and it's more earthy tones, it's still rich though.
Yeah, I mean, I love all of it because of how he applies it. It's just so well balanced. And I mean, it must have been pressures on him as far as others' expectations and what they had as far as, you know, more finely brushed in, rendered, you know, so it's kind of clean and smooth portraits and landscapes, whereas he was influenced by Claude Monet and I'm not sure who else. I need to read the book myself, as Jamie has got me my copy, so I have it here ready to be read, and I'm not very far through it, as you can see from the bookmark, but
mine read the whole thing. But yeah, it's just so upsetting to watch, because like after reading how he spoke about himself, like, this is a man that had zero self-belief.
Yeah, I think it's...
like, if I could go back and just hug one person, it would be him. I'd just hug him.
Oh, he's, I mean...
Yeah.
I think it's obviously a lot of people have doubt in their own abilities and how the world is going to see their work, but to see it from such influential and accomplished work, it does just give you some perspective on trying to believe in yourself and to love your own work, and obviously still strive to improve, but to not be too hard on yourself where you think that your abilities are just diminished.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, bit of nudity
I
there.
might need to censor that for
Yeah.
YouTube. I don't know.
Probably. I mean, even the rendering of that face there, like, it's so well done.
It really is. Because tonally it's very dark, and he's managed to capture such life in such little light.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful.
And his colour palette there is really limited, but it doesn't take away from anything, I don't think.
I think I told you, but my brother showed me a drawing once when we were in a coffee shop in Preston, and he hadn't told me who it was by, and he said, you know, do you think that's any good? And I looked at it, I was like, yeah, it's amazing. And he was like, that's by Van Gogh. And I was like, really? And I said, I didn't know he did drawings. And he said, yeah, his drawings are just like his paintings. It's brilliant. And it was the first one I'd seen, and I just remember thinking, like, that's proof. If you don't even know who the drawing's by, and you can just see that it's unique and brilliant already, you know, straight away, then it just speaks to you. But I mean, I wouldn't have guessed this portrait that we're looking at. I wouldn't have guessed that was Van Gogh because of how differently rendered it is to his later work, which is far more expressionistic, and yet it's incredibly skillful. It's so well observed and knowledgeable. So yeah,
well, it's kind of how he started off with his painting. It was very much like, I don't know, I suppose it was more realism, I guess.
Yeah, it's just things which are very tricky, like doing the lip in shadow could look like a moustache if you do it wrong, but because he's done it so skillfully, it's clear to see that it's not a moustache and that it's light on the face, and it's just beautifully done. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, love it. That's fine. I have to say it, even that, like the skeleton.
Yeah.
Why has it got a cigarette? Who knows? But it's really well done.
Yeah.
That one was 5/16, by the way.
Way before when people used to see cigarettes as bad for your health as well.
Yeah.
Because people didn't back then. So you may think like, well, it's a bit obvious, smoking causes death, but that wasn't the propaganda that was being spread back then at all. That was way before that. I mean, there was propaganda that was pro-cigarette way after this painting. So it was literally just him reflecting on his own death, I think, and then obviously trying to think of ideas of what skeletons don't do. But who knows? But it's just nice how it's done, where it fades to blackness before the flame, before the embers at the end of the cigarette.
Yeah.
Good
and
ideas.
Even the colours that he's used for it and the marks that he's made, like, you can see the little crack across the skull where it's fused together. It's just like those little details that I love.
Yeah, it's a difficult brushstroke to do that as well. You have to be pretty confident to make that correctly, and he's done it in one stroke because you could see if there was a break in it. So it's really nicely done.
Okay. That was the part that annoyed me about it, when they got the moth's wings to move.
There's just no need. That is effort wasted.
I don't understand why that was necessary.
I love his drawing so much. There's no need to animate things like that. It's unnecessary, and yeah, it is kind of silly. I mean, the music's a little bit too. I don't know. There's something a little bit off about this music because it is a little just more. I don't know if you know the show Hello Hello, but it reminds me more of that show. No, it's very.
No.
I think the music for the intro of Hello Hello is very similar to this music, where it's like something like that. And it's just very kind of light and happy, and you kind of like, okay, I know that it's, you know, you're trying to say it's France or something, but it's still a little bit too jaunty, I think, for what we think of for Vincent. Before that, when it was showing his self-portraits, there's something really haunting about seeing so many self-portraits from a master painter who is long gone. And it does feel as though he's looking back at you in a way where, I don't know, I almost feel like, you know, like you're making eye contact with someone when you're looking at his portraits. Something really nice about it, and kind of creepy as well. Not that he's scary, but kind of creepy in the timeline of where we are and trying to communicate that with him.
I always thought it was quite, I don't know, I don't want to say weird, but the fact that every single self-portrait, like, he seems like a different person every time he painted himself.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Like, there's a few that look really similar, and then some that are just vastly different.
Yeah. I could tell. I mean, that's maybe reflecting how he felt as well about himself. Who knows? But it makes you wonder. I was noticing with where you've paused here, this portrait of the woman on the left. I love that he's left such a gap for the nose, and he's not drawn in the line of the nose. That is something which I'm a huge advocate of, and it's still something which people struggle with today. And he's done such an amazing job of it. And if you look at what he's done for the lips, it's literally just a smudge for the tone of the lips, and then the darkness for the gap and the edge where the shadow would be. Just, I don't know, just that's what makes it masterful, is that knowledge. And then obviously the marks on the outside, all that texture. Something about that is just so powerful, where it's always going to be seen as incredible work.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I can't believe you got to go and see this. It's beautiful.
I know. Okay. I like how you can kind of see, well, I kind of paused it in the wrong place, but how his painting style has started to kind of show.
Yeah.
Like the brush marks is starting to be more like the identifiable Van Gogh pieces.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's quite interesting, because I don't know how it started, but you can definitely see it was more of like a slow transition. It wasn't like a overnight thing of like, I'm gonna do this. Like, there must have been some kind of thought process behind it.
Yeah, like an evolution.
And I'm not sure if that's because of his time in France, being around the Impressionist painters, which it could be.
Yeah.
But I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because it kind of just shows that, you know, like where you are is going to influence the type of work that you make and the quality that it has.
Yeah, I've never really tried it to that extent. I mean, I think I'm naturally more impressionistic with my painting naturally.
Yeah.
Like, it's just because I can't. It's not that I can't paint in a way which is really clean. It's just that I can't naturally do that. I have to force myself to start applying paint and brush it in, and I'd like to leave it in big globs, and that's just what I like to do. But it's more in kind of aligned with Monet influence than Van Gogh, because I find Van Gogh and Cézanne so incredibly kind of distant from what I'm able to achieve yet and what I've experienced when I try to make a painting, that I just don't, it's not something where I think, oh, I could do that. I always just look and think, I don't know how they've done that. It's I mean, it almost looks like they've painted underneath and then gone on top with lines, because I just can't conceive of how disciplined you'd have to be to render something that way, and to not let your urge to brush certain aspects in to not be overwhelming, because that is what I experience, where I think I'm just going to have to brush this in and make it a solid shape.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
That was 7:36, by the way.
Thank you.
Is that right? Okay. Let's go.
I love his drawing. Jesus, I absolutely love it.
Why did they have to make them fall that way?
I felt the same thing when I saw it. I just thought, you're ruining it now. You know, you're just doing it for the sake of going, look what we can do. We can take one, isolate it and drop it through. I could do that. Like, I'm not a master animator. I know how to do that. It's like, come on, guys.
I don't know, but I do really like his fruits.
Yeah, the colour and the rendering. This music is far more suitable for what we're seeing as well, because it just has a bit of elegance to it, where when it showed it, I mean, if you see on the video and I'm shaking my head no, it just means unbelievable. It doesn't mean like, no, this is wrong. It just means like, I do the same to Kim Jong-il when I'm watching him. I just kind of shake my head as if to be like, what is going on? How are you able to do that? And to see his fruits, just because I'm trying to look and say, how has he made those decisions? Some have real lines that are, you know, expressionistic, and then others don't. They're more solid, but it has a perfect balance. And I'm trying to analyze. It's useless trying to analyze masterful work, but it's like this. Like, look at these pairs, and you can see dashes and lines, and they just look incredibly perfect. That light underneath, the yellow reflected light on the blue at the bottom in the shadow, is just so powerful to me. Things like that, I think, are just absolute perfection. Yeah. So yeah.
I want to know what backdrop this was.
Yeah.
Like, what was it behind?
I wonder if that's a tree. Because to me, it looks like he's rendering a tree. If you look on the left-hand side where it's zoomed in, I think that looks like knots in tree bark.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
I think that's what he's doing.
So I wasn't sure if it was like some kind of cloth, but I suppose a tree makes more sense.
That's what I initially thought was a cloth, because I thought he set up a still life, whereas only when you said that, I looked at it and I thought, I think he's gone just to nature again. That seems to be how he does it. But this is probably early on still, I'm assuming.
I think so.
Incredible.
Okie dokie. I hate the animation. Stop it. I don't understand why that rippling was necessary along this bottom one
Yeah,
here.
the way he does foliage is just incredible, though. I mean, as soon as it started showing this, I just thought he makes it look as though landscapes are easy, and they're just not easy. Yeah. But he
Yeah.
makes it look like, yeah, it's, this is green and yellow, that's blue and pale blue and white. It just isn't, though. It just doesn't work out like that. Even if you stick to a really strict colour palette, you're not going to be able to achieve this type of thing because he just has a way about it. I know that I'm gushing a bit, so I apologise, but
There is no apologies. We will
yeah,
gush, and anyone that disagrees with the gushing,
yeah. Show me
bye.
your work. Show me your work to prove that this isn't gush worthy. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's like. By the way, us criticising the animation of this doesn't necessarily mean that we criticise the animation of Loving Vincent, because that was quite a different thing
Yeah.
to judge. It's just with this, you're looking at still images and then introducing a falling pear for no good reason at all. It's just not necessary.
Yeah.
And this rippling at the bottom, I think I was too mesmerised by the stills at the top, because all you need is this type of slow tracking from top to bottom, or that's the only movement that's necessary, and sometimes no movement at all is necessary. But it is nice to see a close-up of some of the marks, and it's scanning across it is just engrossing anyway. So
But with this rippling at the bottom, like, I would have preferred just to see the texture that he'd made instead of adding that ripple there, because it makes it hard to see then. And I'm not a fan of that. Like, sorry to be a harsh critic, but
no, I'm with you. I agree.
Yeah. Okay. It's that again.
Yeah.
Why? His leaves don't look like
I
that.
noticed it on the one where it was quite zoomed out and you could see someone that he was painting, I think, and it had like little white leaves going past, and I just thought, that doesn't look like part of the painting. I mean, God, look at what you've paused on there. Look at that thing in the centre. It's just absolutely insane. It's like, I don't know, it's like
yeah.
God, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's a perfect balance of warm and cold, where it's just a patchwork of amazing decisions that have been made, because you've got to decide to make certain things blue and purple. So this tree on the centre right is purple, and he's made that decision because the tree will have been cool to an extent, but he's made that decision to make it that colour. And that's an amazing artistic decision that's not easy to make.
Okay.
We've both got pierced lips.
I just don't get it.
Like, that takes away from it. It doesn't add. Wow.
One thing that I don't understand is the fact that if you keep an eye on the one on the floor, sometimes it's his work and sometimes it just isn't.
Really?
Yeah, like the rose that's there right now, he hasn't painted that. It's a picture that they found. And it was the same when it was the drawings of the windmills. It wasn't his work, and I don't understand why they've done that.
Yeah, that's a bad choice. That is weird. Because this is just I mean, classical music and Van Gogh paintings go together very
Yeah.
well. It goes a little bit like this with the bloop, 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 bloop.
Yeah.
It's a little bit dancey, but at the same time, it's when it started off all like, that's where I get goosebumps of going, this is what he deserves. He deserves this kind of classical ambient way of building suspense and a bit of tension, and then to show this unbelievable body of work. I mean, the amount of paintings you can show of his is shocking for the amount of time that he was actually practicing.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Did you get the time?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Photographic movement is not. It's not necessary. I think it was actually too much movement based on the music of his paintings as well for this segment, which I appreciate that you want it to go with the music, but it felt like the music dictated how much of his paintings you'd see.
Yeah.
Which is kind of frustrating for me, because I just thought it's too dancey and plinky plonky for the elegance that we're seeing. I really wished it would have just held its breath on certain paintings and had something a bit slower and more drawn out. But at the same time, it's nice to hear classical music with it, as opposed to the kind of little the French tune where it's kind of, we're playing and being happy. So yeah.
I don't know. This is going to annoy me throughout, by the way. This and the unnecessary animation. It just...
Yeah.
I remember being there and I was like, this is not needed.
No.
But yeah.
I agree.
Why did they have to flick through that so fast?
Yeah, they've not done this especially well. I think it's being dictated by the tempo of the music, which is, I just think it's the wrong priorities. And some of the backgrounds, I don't know if you noticed, but when they were showing the background without the subject on it, it didn't have the same texture. It looked like it had been copied and pasted on Photoshop to make a consistent texture. And then when they added the subject, they slowly crept in the texture which Van Gogh achieved.
Yeah.
And they hadn't, I mean, because you were looking at something thinking, that's weird. How is that going to look like a Vincent piece? And then they put the subject on, and you're like, still kind of weird. Oh, there it is. And they kind of crept it in last minute where they were trying to transition from their background. Here's the subject. And then here's the subject with the background. Now it's gone. And that's a little bit frustrating. Not to detract from the spectacle of this actual event, which does look amazing, but it's hard not to sort of see where it falls short with modern decisions which aren't masterful decisions.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like in some of the, some things just doesn't do it justice, especially like the real photographs and stuff like that. It's unnecessary.
Yeah. Yeah, it just takes away from it because they're trying to add colour. And if you look at the colours he does, like the blue greys and the green greys are just perfect because they're just sat together so
Yeah.
well. And then you have this colour of the movement on the floor, and you just think that could be black. That could just be nothing on there because we don't need to look at the floor when you've already got several panels that are hard to absorb because you've got so many of his pieces showing at once, and then you're
Yeah.
taking them away and moving them and having a background and then the subject, and it's not necessary. I know they may have thought, well, we can't just have loads of paintings because it won't be enough entertainment. People will lose focus, but I think they're underestimating the audience of who's going to be attracted to things like this.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
Just show us drawings.
Yeah.
Now that's interesting. If you don't mind pausing for a second. Do you mind pausing?
Yeah.
There? Now, what they were showing was this kind of weird, fuzzy, cloudy thing going through the smoke. And then you can see his smoke there, still in the frame in the centre. And it's much more interesting to look at than their little animated smoke and their movement of a sky behind the drawing, which is just annoying. And having his train move through the screen is not necessary because it's not meant to be in motion. It's meant to be seen as a still in a certain frame because it would have fit in that part of the drawing, whereas they're trying to push it through to make it an animation, to make it their work and not his, and it just kind of detracts from it in my experience. I'm sorry guys, I know this seems really negative, but I love Winston's work so much that it just doesn't need this.
And the fact that the sky as well that they've used,
yeah,
it would have been so much better even if it was just painted.
Yeah.
But it isn't.
No, it's just some weird CG looking thing. And
yeah.
I mean, look at the amount of the drawing that you can see on the left. And the only bit which doesn't fit is the stupid sky at the top. It's just like, he's got so many tones on this beautiful yellow paper that it just looks like a scene anyway. And you don't need anything moving through it. Just as I said with the smoke that he's drawn, it's got loads of movement in it without them pushing movement into there where it doesn't belong.
Yeah.
Annoys me. So yeah. To your point of how many different looks he has.
Yeah. I mean, like, even this one, if you had that one next to the one on the right, they do not look like the same person.
No, they don't look related.
No.
But I think
that's not to say that he was bad, because he isn't. I just think it's a really interesting choice that he made.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he has a bandage on the one in the centre, so it's different frame of mind, and I do think that will make you look at yourself differently. And because he was so expressionistic, that will influence how he renders his own face, how he sees it, and how he feels. Amazing colours, unbelievable colours.
Definitely. Why?
Unnecessary. Ah, here we go. Much better.
Is that like a, I don't know, in my head, to me, that's a stark contrast between being happy and healthy and seeing the sunflowers die.
Yeah, it does make you pause for a moment, doesn't it? Because the mark seems so much harsher with that cold blue tone in the centre of them, when before it was on the outside of the flower, and then with the death it does seem to be creeping inside of it, where the cool tones are. Just yeah, I mean the transition was quite harsh, but at the same time it is at least it was all his paintings and without their video or animation in there, but it was a bit jarring to see that transition, to be honest.
Do you think it's something that possibly reflects like his descent into negative mental health?
Possibly, yeah. I think that's probably correct, yeah.
Unless they've just assumed that. I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah, I missed one of the times before this one, by the way, when I was talking last, so I've just had to leave a gap.
Oh God, okay.
It's fine, because I think that I'll be able to find the marker from us both going, when we see the video, just like, what's going on? What's happening, guys?
Yeah. Okay.
I love this.
Yeah. See that person's head? Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
Okay, wait. Look at can you see my cursor?
I can, yeah.
Okay, this panel here. Those of you that are watching, okay, you can't see my cursor. You've got that big one at the front,
Yeah.
okay? It's on the left at the bottom.
Yeah.
You'll see a guy's head.
Let me just see where you pull it back to. 1555. Okay.
Yeah.
5. Okay.
Just wait. I never noticed that. I put it back a bit far, sorry.
That's fine, it's okay.
There!
I just saw it moving there. I was like, oh, right. It's like a little head and shoulder going, bobbity-bob.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Look at those colours. Right, okay, we're at 16, 15. Unreal. They're just, that's what hits me with his painting, is the colours and the application of how he frames the painting. Yeah, just the composition, and just, I mean, look at that range of images is just incredible. I don't mind the map so much at the bottom. At least it's a map, you know, even though it's not his work, but it's there's still no need for it. You still wouldn't have to put it there. But
at least it's not animated.
yeah,
At least I haven't noticed.
yeah,
I was just too focused on this guy's head.
yeah.
Oh, that was bad. Someone should have picked up on that. £15 to see some guy's head. My God. Okay. Why?
Yeah, it's just don't do it.
Why? Why? It
It doesn't look good.
no.
It's not the same
I
palette.
mean,
It's not adding anything.
even if all of these was just this one piece,
Yeah.
it would have made more sense.
Even if they're saying this is the exact field where he painted this, it doesn't matter. It doesn't work together. You're not supposed to look at the
No.
reference next to the painting.
Yeah. And it doesn't even state that. So
No.
are they trying to be like, oh, it's a wheat field? Because I'm pretty sure anyone could look at it and be like, oh, well, it's a field of some sort
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you don't need that reassurance of I'm looking at a wheat field.
No, it's just bad decisions. It's just giving a job to someone who should have been hired elsewhere.
Yeah.
Because you don't need photography, you don't need animation. Okay, that's part 1 for now. I was going to make it one long episode, but because it was going to 2 hours and the actual Van Gogh Alive video that we are reacting to, it's just under 40 minutes. So I thought with it running so long, I would chop it in half and make it into 2 pieces. So that's the end of part 1. I hope you enjoyed it. Please return for part 2. We've got some more amazing artwork and great reactions like oh, and all that kind of stuff. So return for that. For the time being though, this has been another episode of Studio Buddies doing a podcast with a little gay guitar. Thanks for watching. Bye.